Nope. Well, when you're driving, you go stop at Starbucks or in this case Dunkin', and you're like, oh, I want to take a drink of my latte. You're also taking your hand off the wheel, so your reaction time is slower, and then you're also taking a drink and you're taking your eyes off the road. Or it doesn't even have to be the driver. The passenger can be all like,
here, try my latte. It's really good.
of course. And that's where you mess up. So it's always good to keep your hands on the wheel and not, even if it is a good latte.
Arachnids, missiles, meth, tornadoes. But how in the world could your friends be lethal?
Oh my gosh, look at this text I got.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is my jam!
Whoa!
See, this is a prime example of how your friends could be lethal. It doesn't have to be just your friends out in your everyday life. It's them in a car distracting you and taking your eyes and hands off of the road and the wheel. And that's how your friends could be lethal.
Okay, so how many of you have been a passenger in someone else's car in the last week? Pretty much all of us. So how many of you have either talked to the driver or someone else in the car or listened to your favorite song really loudly? Pretty much all of us. So we don't normally think of ourselves as being a distraction, but in fact, we're one of the most lethal distractions to the driver. As a passenger, we affect how the driver sees the road, hears other cars, and how much attention he's paying. So when you're in the car with someone, you need to be respectful of them and not be a distraction or put anyone else in danger.
He was my teammate.
He was my son.
He was a classmate.
He was my best friend.
He was my boyfriend.
My son was my
I met Donovan in about 8th grade, and we just immediately became friends. We just connected.
And I came here before my freshman year. He was the first person that actually talked to me and introduced me to his friends.
looking at how he interacted with others was something that made me proud. Donovan was definitely a person. He attracted all kinds.
Pretty boy, the one that all the girls liked, and he had the nice cars.
Just most of the time with him or at his house or with his family.
He really wanted everyone to just have fun.
He was an excellent student. He had one of the highest GPAs. So before he was even in high school, he was already talking about going on to college and having a family. And he has a whole life planned out.
He started playing football in junior high.
I just kind of looked up to him when I played.
I was playing line, and he was the running back, and I led block him all the way for a touchdown. And ever since then, we just became good friends.
He had a lot of fans, especially the girls.
So everybody wanted to wear his jerseys. He was really nice to everybody.
He was an all-star on the field.
I see him as the leader of the pack.
He would not only lead by example, but also try to help others sort through whatever they were going through in their own lives.
If you're having a bad day, he'd be the first one to pick you up and you're like, let's go to the park and feed the ducks.
It was actually where we spent our first date. It's really special.
A day I'll never forget. Life as I knew it ended forever.
And we were driving home. We were just kids having fun.
I was going over the speed limit excessively, and we were blaring the music up really loud,
And I noticed that we were going pretty fast.
and it was causing the car to swerve back and forth.
And we were making fun of her, telling her can't you keep the car in a straight line?
My response was, oh, like this? And I jerk wheel backward.
And the next thing I know, I just see a tree coming at us.
I remember all the sounds of the car crashing.
I looked around and I see Donovan,
But he wasn't moving. So I sat with the kept telling him, he's dead. Donovan's dead.
I even remember calling out Donovan's name and hoping that he would hear me and just get up.
I saw black leg in his own blood. I knew for sure what he saw.
When we walked up, that's what he first said. Was, Donovan didn't make it.
But I remember hearing Martha,
Not my son. Not my boy.
and I think that was one of the most painful things to experience was hearing a mother cry about her son.
The screaming of a mother just now finding out that her son is dead. And all simply because of something that was so preventable.
We were just going home. Speed wasn't really a factor.
Before I knew it, like, in a matter of seconds, we lost our best friend.
I immediately felt that it was my fault, and I felt guilty. I felt ashamed,
We wanted to go down to the hospital.
Really needed to talk to Danica.
and they just told me that they forgave me.
It was not all her fault, and we wanted her to make sure she heard that from us.
All three of us in the back could have said put our seatbelts on or told Danica to drive safe, but so I feel like we were all at fault.
Like, I wanted to say, hey guys, maybe we should slow down and put our seatbelts, but that's not really. I kind of wanted to feel like, oh, he's a little scared baby.
I wasn't driving, but my husband. You never know what's gonna happen. You're not invincible.
He had it all. He had it all together. But he made a bad decision. And like Nye, he lost all that.
That was it. That's all it took.
You just have to think in your head, if I do this, it could mess up my life totally. If I get in a crash, I'm gonna have to live with the consequences the rest of my life.
I went from having a brother that was one of my best friends to being an only child. It only took one moment of bad decision on his part to lose that life.
Good. All right. So, as you can watch that video, I remember watching for the first time just kind of how emotional it can make you. It really kind of tugs on your heart, makes you think about the choices that you've made in the past or the choices you're making today as passengers or as drivers. And in this case, unfortunately, we saw some bad decisions made, which unfortunately took the life of a beloved friend, a boyfriend, a son, and it affects everybody around you. It didn't just affect the victim, but it affected his whole family, his mom, his dad, all of his friends. So it's very hard to watch. But the one thing that you guys could take away from it all is that it was 100% preventable. Some crashes, they might not be 100% preventable, but distracted driving, in this case, it should have been preventable. The steering on the jerking of the wheel, the screaming of the music and the passengers, all the distractions, it could have been very easily prevented. So that's why it's important. We have 3 stars here, that every time you get in a vehicle, you have to decide, make the choice, as we've emphasized, to be a good passenger, be a responsible driver. You may not always get a second chance to make a good choice. And unfortunately, that was the case here. And unfortunately, nearly 4,000 teens a year do not get that chance to make a good choice again. So that's important to just think about and remember.
So we've talked a lot about choices, and we want to emphasize that we don't want us or anyone around us that we're talking to be the ones that we're watching the videos about. All over the country, people are watching videos of people like Donovan who made the bad choice, and we don't want to be the ones that are on those videos. So when you're in the car as a passenger or as a driver, we want to make good choices. So don't make the choice to talk to your friends or reach over like they were saying and grab the lattes, look at the lipstick. Common distractions like those, but also speeding and substance abuse. Those are the laws and we should follow them, but it's especially important when you're driving to make sure you're being safe for your passengers and for your driver.
So as drivers, we want to make good choices, and some of the following are good choices that we can make. Buckle up. It takes 2 to 5 seconds to hear the click of your seatbelt, and it can be the difference between life or death. And it's the law, so we should all follow it and wear it. Put the phone away. I know a lot of us just put it in our cup holder, but as soon as the light goes off, our first reaction is to grab it. So I would recommend putting it in the glove box or center console so you're not tempted to grab it even if the light goes off. Stay focused. Like we said previously, there's a lot of distractions that can come into the car, like your friends, music, your phone, anything else. Stay focused on the roads and your surroundings so you have that reaction time and have that barrier if anything could happen. Allow time for conditions. So if it's snowing, foggy, or rainy, make sure that you allow yourself in order time to get to school or where you need to go, because you don't want to be speeding and that could be caused a bad decision in order to get where you need to go. Speak up. Like Donovan's friend said, he didn't want to speak up because he didn't want to be seen as the baby. We want to teach people that it's okay to speak up. So if you're in the car with somebody who you see is on their phone or adjusting their radio or going too fast, speak up and be that voice telling them that they need to slow down and focus to their surroundings.
Okay, so can everybody tell on this poster that there's a skull? Okay, so this poster is made up of thousands of little dots, each one representing a teen that died within the last year between the ages of 13 and 20. And more specifically, the white dots that create the skull represent teens that died due to car crashes within the last year. There's nearly 4,000 white dots up there. Okay, that's a lot of deaths. And when you think of that number, it becomes easier to perceive and think about how many people are affected by just one teenage death, let alone the 4,000, right? There's families, relatives, friends, peers, all of that. Yet, it's swept under the rug. I know me personally 6 months ago, before we started training on this, probably a lot of these guys too, when we were asked, what do you consider lethal? We didn't think, driving. We thought alcohol, substance abuse, things like that. Now with this, it's 100% preventable, right? Like Ben touched on earlier. If you pay attention, you keep your hands on the wheels, you're focused, you know what I mean? You got your music down, you got your friends being good passengers, you can stay safe, drive more safely, and then just eliminate the chances of crashing or even death.
So this right here is called the Wheel of Death. It gives you your percentage of getting into a crash with different scenarios. So the first scenario I'm going to give you is there's a basketball game on Saturday night. So let's just say you have 2 passengers. You go to change your radio station, and you have no other distractions. Your percentage of crashing just went up 885%. Did any of you have any passengers this morning? Okay. How many passengers did you have? 3. Did you ever change your radio, mess with the music?
Take a sip of coffee.
Yes. So, did you ever get on your phone at all?
No.
No. Okay. So, having 3 passengers during the day, changing your music, your percentage of crashing just went up 582%. Because you changed your radio station and took your eyes off the road. So we want to emphasize that there's many things that you can do to help prevent that. One of the things being is on your phone. Do you guys know that